All righty then. Hello. All right. So come into a seated pose to support you. If today is a very dark, windy, rainy, stormy day, so we're going to stay low today. Index finger and thumb together in Chi Mudra. So if you're doing this class from the video and it's a bright day for you, still make sure you have 2 blocks and a tie. So let your sits bones feel the earth. The earth is so opening right now. Of course, it will open even more with the rain and the wind that we'll have today. And just let your hips and your legs feel the earth, connect to the earth, root to the earth. Bring your breath right down into the belly to make sure that you're actually working your diaphragm. Very, very important to get your diaphragm to work and to breathe these deep breaths and long breaths in training and teaching your body how to slow everything down and to make it so that your breath is using the full capacity of your lung, the upper part, the middle part, and the lower part of your lungs. You may need to do a little sigh. Kind of let the week go. Yeah, we all just need to sigh out. And then allow for your spine to elongate up all the way through the spine from the little coccyx bone to the top of the head. Reach the 7th chakra, crown chakra, all the way up to the blue sky beyond the clouds. And then I'll feel how the breath is going through the torso, nice and long. Just make it so that it's freely moving through your torso, down to the belly, and then all the way up. Just staying to the belly to begin with, so to really connect to the lower parts of the lung that get missed in the shallow breaths we take a zillion times a day. Nice deep breath. And connect to the part of you that is a little stormy. Might need a little shaking out. I always love the wind for that. Just reminds me that transformation comes in many forms. So sometimes I just let what needs to be let go out into these stormy winds. Now bring your breath into the belly, then let it rise all the way up to the lungs, and then from there all the way up to the base of the neck. Now in our practice, we call this prana, the life-giving force. It has a different meaning and a different function, I believe, which is a more importance rather than just saying, oh, I'm breathing, or it's the breath. Just prana. It's this life-giving force that we're given. Belly, lungs, and throat. And let this prana, the gift that it is in, staying long and low and deep. And then with your next exhale, allow your chin to come down to the chest. As we breathe into the opening of the neck and the upper part of the back, and just notice what's there for you. Without judgment, just let your breath move to whatever place feels like it needs a little bit more tension. And the body always works with a softness and an awareness. And then release your hands from your thighs and bring them to the floor on either side of your hips. And on the inhale, lift the arms and lift the gaze in the seated sun breath. And turn the palms and exhale with your fingertips down and the chin to the chest. And then the palms roll upward again, arms and gaze all the way up. Turn the palms and exhale, fingertips down, chin to the chest. 2 more times, palms roll all way up. Begin to feel your body warming, seated sun breath. And then release and come all the way back down. And last time, palms roll all the way up. Hands gonna pray over your head, then down to the heart as you close your eyes for a moment and breathe into your own inner landscape. Connect into that inner breath, the centering of your being. Staying centered in whatever is going on around us. Grounding what is important to you and what feels like your message to give to the world is so important right now. We're here to share that message. Just breathe into the importance of that. And then release and come all the way back. Stay seated for a moment. If you need to change your legs, then change your legs. But let your left hand go onto the floor, the right arm up. And we're just going to open into the right side, breathing in with a nice deep breath. At the same time, keep your right hip down. So one part is stable, another part is expanding. And then release and come all the way back down. Left arm reaches up and over, and again the left hip grounds into the earth while your whole side body feels the sky. Breathing in. Good, release just one more time. Right arm reaches up and over. See if you can go a little deeper. Nice deep breath, and then release, and left arm up and over. And then release and come all the way back. So roll over your legs and come into the table pose with fingerprints down, back of the palm knuckles down. Exhale into a cat. And then inhale, cow. Just rolling back and forth. Exhale, cat. Keep your elbows soft and your hands connected to the earth. Exhale into the cat. And inhale, cow. Just notice if your shoulders are tight. Let your shoulders move up and back while you're doing this exploration of the spine. And one more time, exhale, cat. And inhale, cow. Good, so you're going to take your right leg back behind you. We're going to do a pose that we haven't done in a while. You're going to exhale back and inhale up. We've done this for a while. But exhale back, inhale up. In working with my sister, of course I can't get her to do this, but I was looking at different ways of breathing into the side body, and I remembered this wonderful pose. You're going to exhale up, toes, foot long, leg parallel to the floor. Now cross your right over your left and look over your left shoulders. We're creating a backward C. And again, breathing into your side body. Just noticing what might be tight. And again, with the breath and just your awareness, just breathe in. Nice deep breath. Nothing more than a deep breath. And then release and come all the way back to center. Left toes now onto the floor. Exhale back and inhale up. Fingerprints down back of the palm knuckles. Let's get off of the wrists. So put more weight into the fingerprints and palm knuckles. Exhale back, inhale up. Exhale back, breathing into the leg. Inhale up. Last time. Exhale back, inhale up. Lift the leg with a nice deep breath. I'm going to cross the left over the right. We're going to create a C with a nice deep breath. Looking over your right shoulder this time. And again, breathing into the side body, side of the extended leg. Good, then come back all the way into the table pose, knees out to the side, toes together, roll back, extended child, first extended child. So breathe in, taking a nice deep breath into the back body. So we know the front body so well. Let's concentrate on the back body, back of the lungs, back of the rib cage. And just making that wonderful connection. Breathing in. Again, inviting your hips to be down towards your heels, but if that is not available and your hips are up, take your elbows onto the floor, thumb to your forehead so that you're balancing your head and your hips. So you can find some peace where it's not feeling like your head is plowing into the floor. Nice deep breath. And inhale and come all the way back up again into the table pose with the right leg coming forward, left leg back into a simple low Anjali Asana. Hands onto the knee, you're going to exhale forward. Protect your knee as is needed, double up on the mat, or if you have a little pad, exhale forward, inhale up, exhale forward. Don't press too hard into the hip joint itself, keep it on the quad. I'm just going to add a little bit here. You're going to exhale forward, bring your right knee forward. So you drag your left knee forward a little bit. You're going to find a deeper stretch in your quad specifically. Nice deep breath. Good. Then release and come all the way back into the table pose. Fingerprints down, back of the palm knuckles down, curl the toes. Lift up into downward dog. First dog. One heel up, one heel down. Nice deep breath. You're going to notice if you're breaking in the mid-back, and you're going to bring the bottom tips of the rib cage up to lengthen through the spine. Head down towards your hands. So it's stretching forward and down towards your hands, hips back. Good. Then come all the way back into the table pose with the left leg coming forward, this time curling the right, and exhale forward, low Anjali Asana, and exhale forward again, inhale up. Just exhale with the breath. Just allow yourself to feel a release as you come forward. Try not to overstretch the hip. Keep the stretch in the quad. Exhale forward, inhale up. 2 more times. Exhale forward, inhale up. And the last time. Exhale forward. Now drag your right knee forward, away from your hips. The nice deep breath. Good. Then release, come all the way back to center, to the table pose. And again, lift up into downward facing dog. And walk the dog, one heel up, one heel down. Come forward into plank. Make sure your hips are not down here with too much weight on your lower back, that you're up. Fingerprints down, back of the palm, knuckles down. Return back to dog. Breathing in. Then slowly and with awareness coming back to the plank pose. And again, not here. Hips up. Press your heel back away from you. Hug into the midline. Now to go onto the floor, you can either bring your knees onto the floor and bring your chest down towards the floor, or bend at the elbows and move into chaturanga all the way down. Then flatten your toes onto the floor, stretch your toes away from you. Let your hands go out to the side into Spider Bhujangasana. Move the head of the arm bone up toward the ear and back. You want them out of the way so you can let your chest come forward. Keep the shoulder blades on your back and work that by pressing your fingers deeply into the floor as you lift up. Nice deep breath. And just kind of let the day enter in with this deeper breath, then release. Come all the way back down. Stack your hands one on top of the other. Then your forehead onto the floor, or onto your hands. Lift your right leg up, and it's from the hip to the foot. Lifting up, and then releasing back down. Half Shalambhasana, then left, and then coming all the way back down, and right, and coming down, and left, and coming down, last time right, and then left. And then stretching your hands out and extending your legs up. Come into full Shalambhasana. Nice deep breath. Takes a lot of energy to do this one. Then release, come all the way back down. Curl your toes on to a downward dog. Breathing in a nice deep breath. Then bending your knees and hopping forward or walking your feet forward, walking your hands back. Come into Uttanasana and then arms swing out to the side as we inhale all the way up. Hands go to pray over your head and then down to the heart. Yeah, that'll warm you up. That Shalabhasana is always a tough one. I don't care how many times I've done that one. That one's a tough one. All right, so we're going to take our 2 blocks. We're going to bring them to the mat. And you're going to step back a little bit. So there, I think that this needs to come down just a little. There we go. And right leg forward, left leg back into a Parvottanasana. But I want you to be able to ground both hands onto your block. And here, it's very simple to actually get the tips of your rib cage lifting this way. So you want to come back slightly. When you do that, you can just do that. Put your hands onto your rib cage and just notice when your rib cage goes even a teeny bit out of whack, how that length that weakens your feet. My feet lift up. So I want my feet to be more solid onto the ground. So as you bring the tips of the rib cage in, just notice how that affects your feet. And then lift up through the spine. And you want your right hip back, left hip forward. Okay, so just notice that at this stage of the game, at this part of our practice, it's the little teeny things that are going to really begin to make a difference. So with your right hip forward back and your left hip forward, come forward halfway. Now notice that same thing of the rib cage falling down to the earth and bring it up towards the spine, and let that help you rotate your hips a little more. Then reach for your blocks. And this is where we can begin to really play with this a little bit. So with your hands here, you're not as strong here in your core, but it might allow you to move your hips a little bit more. So bring in the tips of the rib cage in, and then just press back and unlock your knees. Boy, does it really want to lock here. Put more energy into your feet and play it. Let me show you sideways. So here, I'm taking it here. This is kind of where it falls on me, and then taking it back. And when I have it back, then I'm watching, my knee is not locking, more power into here, and from here to here, with my core and hands on the block, I'm actually pushing, kind of like how we use the blocks to twist a little deeper. So give yourself some time to begin to feel some of those parts of your body. Good. And then let your left come up to your right, shake that out. Parvottanasana. It is a really good stretcher out there pose. All right. We'll turn this side. Left foot forward, right foot back. And make all the adjustments before I go over. Because you know the minute that you start playing with this, everything begins to, if you're not showing the awareness, your body will do what it wants to do. Nice deep breath. So the left hip goes back, right hip forward, rib cage in. Now I can feel, when I do the rib cage in, I can feel my heels onto the floor. Now I'm reaching for the blocks and give myself a flat back. I want a flat back here. I don't want to have a back that's cracking. Flat back, because I want to work my hips. Taking the left hip back, right hip forward. Go back and forth, pressing into the feet, pressing the hip back, breathing in, and just feeling that connection. Now you might be able to go down a little deeper, keeping a flat back and keeping your hips from doing one of those little loony things. And just notice. And that's how you build a pose in a way that keeps informing you and opening as you experiment with the pose. Good, then inhale and come all the way back up. Whew, yeah. Nice deep breath. Take one of your blocks, center. Come out with feet at a 45-degree angle. Hands on your hips. Just go straight down. Try not to do one of these. It's not going to go too far. You really want to stretch the inner groins, and you want to strengthen your core and your lower back. Okay, here that kind of disengages. So here, it doesn't matter how far you go. How connected are you? It's not about how far. It'll change once you're connecting to the right muscles. And again, press into your feet, and you're using your muscles, not snapping your knees. Your knees are just going to follow your muscles. So you're going to exhale, inhale, good, exhale, and inhale. Now turn your feet to a 45-degree angle. Now this is the pose where if you're really loosey-goosey, to challenge yourself, you've got to come in a little bit. And if this is a tight pose with you, you play with how open you can get and still have that flexibility. So again, knees are not locking, feet solid, hands on your hips. A lot of the same things apply here. Rib cage in, feet solid on the floor, and find your flat back. Now find your block. And you're going to do the same thing here. Now, you say, well, you're going up high or whatever, I can go down lower. That's all fine. And you can, but what I want to do is connect those inner groins. Those inner groins are tough. These inner groins need to go back. And it's not this back. It's staying here and your muscles are taking it back, not just overstretching your knees. You see how that goes. I can do this, but boy, that's not good for my knees. See this all the time in classes. Here, inner groins go back. My butt hasn't moved. Can you see that? There's no movement. It's here in the muscles. And then rib cage up and breathe. Now I'm going to twist, letting the left hand go onto the floor. Right where you are, stay long, parallel to the floor, right hand on your hip. Forget about your arms. I want you to feel your legs, inner groins back, and twist. Nice deep breath. Now stay upright. So don't make it so your head is dripping down towards the earth. Your head is extending out through your spine. So from little coccyx bone to the top of the head, you're rotating and breathing. A nice deep breath. Stay high on your block. Don't go too low. Mary Lou, take your hand down, twist more, and put your hand on your hip. Yeah, rotate your head of the arm bone up and back. Good. Inner groins back. This is good for your lower back. And then inhale and come all the way back up. Just heel toe your way back. We're going to do the other side. We'll take a break. Nice deep breath. We get fooled by our shoulders. We get fooled by our head. So to make it so that you're integrated, you have to know the wholeness, holding the midline and feet solid onto the floor. That's how we grow this one. Again, if you feel good, like shake your legs out. We don't overstretch. Good. Feet parallel to one another. Find your right length. I'm staying up a little higher so that, I could go wider, but my point of it, I want these guys more strengthened, especially in the spring practice. So you're going to exhale forward, and again, don't let your hips go back. feet solid, inner groins, these guys right here, they go back, which doesn't change your hip, and it lengthens through the spine. So I'm lengthening up, and I'm watching my rib cage because I know exactly what my back feels like when it's cracked in half. So I'm going to bring the rib cage up slightly because I need the core to twist. Right hand on the block, left hand on the hip. Head of the arm bone up toward the ear and back. And as you rotate, you're taking the right hip back. Even more. That means a lot more power into your right foot. And stabilize it by pressing more in your left with soft knees. It's a lot to ask. And breathe. A nice deep breath. Couple more deep breaths. Getting your breath to move right down into the belly again. Then release and come all the way back. Now, take your block out of the way. Let your head go down towards the floor. And I'm going to say if you can go to the floor, go all the way to the floor. If you can't use your block, you can always use your block with a nice deep breath. Now here, even here, bend your knees, take the inner groins back. Now your back is more bent here, but you've got your solid feet, inner groins back. Lift up just enough to bring your hands forward. So now we're going to Pisarada dog. And let your head lengthen up away from your hips. Bend your knees generously, inner groins back. And now take the head of the arm bone up to your ear and back. So you're feeling your back elongate, then bring your bottom tips of the rib cage in, and we have a big stretch here. And breathe into that big stretch. If you can, if you have the awareness, you're going to bring your forearms in slightly. That's just going to help you hold the midline a little bit more. Ooh, nice deep breath, then release. Bring your feet together, walk your hands back. You're in Uttanasana, head down towards the floor, press into the feet. Arms swing all the way up. Hands gonna put over your head, and then down to the heart. Oh yeah. And shake it out. So little things really matter. All right, so let's use some of the midline stretches, right? We're gonna do Vrikasana, the tree pose. Go to the wall, or if you want to do it right in the middle of the room, then fine. Just give yourself a moment to just kind of close your eyes and breathe. Now imagine the tree. Want the power of the tree rooting down, being able to lift up. So take your right toes, come onto the tippy toes of your right foot. You're going to be standing on your left. You're going to bring your leg out to the side and then bring it all the way up. Hugging foot to leg, leg to foot. Right there, you can see that midline. I'm hugging into that midline. Now I'm going to continue that hug into the midline, which means my arms are hugging into. My foot is hugging into my leg back into the foot. Breathing in, enjoying the connection. You might wiggle and wobble like you're seeing me do, and it's all right. And release. It's about your body finding balance within the chaos and shaking. Nice deep breath. Just stand for a moment in Tadasana, the mountain pose. Let your hands come forward towards your camera and just breathe. Let your hands be open to receive. Just receive this energy. Receive the awareness. Just exercising patience within our own practice. And then opening up the eyes. So standing on the right foot this time, left toes, just kind of prepping ourselves to find that balance. Taking the left leg up this time. And for the last 2 days, here we go. Leg to foot, foot to leg, reaching all the way up, finding your tree, breathing in, good. And then release and come all the way back down and shaking that out. All right, so let's come onto the floor. Janu Shirsasana. Go way back here, I think, for you to see it. Yep, there we go. Toes sunny side up. So inner spiral, here we go. Those inner groins down towards the earth. And when you inner spiral, and toes are sunny side up, you're allowing your hamstrings to settle down towards the earth. So you're going to take your left knee out to the side and left foot up, just like we did right there, tree pose. Good, so you're rotating your torso so your torso and your shoulders are in the same direction as your foot. And you're going to walk, just walk your hands down. And again, some of that same exercises that we did with Parvottanasana, where the rib cage is coming in, you're lengthening up through the spine. In fact, take your hands to your head, press your head to your hand to your head, in a way that just evens out. And they're not in a competition, just they're right there, and you're coming forward. Now, as you're coming forward, notice if you're cracking right here. And just begin to bring that rib cage in. You want to feel back of the head and belly. Back of the head and belly together. And this is one of those ways where you get the feedback. Now press a little bit into your head, hand a little more, hand back to the head. Again, just finding that balance. We're not in a competition. We're just looking for that stretch. Now when you've come to your max place where you've come forward in this pose, you're going to release your hands, let your left hand come to the outside of the right foot or the calf or wherever it is and rotate. So now our shoulders are stacking one on top of the other and you're breathing in. Good, then release and come all the way back to center and then allow yourself to round your back. Coming all the way down, head down towards the knee. Janu Shirsasana, head to knee pose. That's the whole point of this particular pose, head to knee. Nice deep breath, rounding your back. Now, as you're lifting up, find your flat back again. Find the sweet spot where your back of the head and your belly are connecting and you have a nice flat back, and then inhale and come all the way back up. Whew. All right, so bringing your left foot forward and shaking. Janu Shirsasana has a lot of different parts to it. This is one part. Breathing in, again, just finding that open breath, going all the way down to the belly, then bring your right foot out, right foot up. And again, it's hugging foot to leg, leg to foot. If you have knee issues, you can bring a little pillow or something there. You want to get the feeling of moving from your knee down to your hip. And if your knee itself is in feeling too crunched, if you have a real knee issue, I have in the past taken my tie and put the tie behind the knee to give the knee a little space so that once you open up the knee a little bit, it will actually work better for you. So just a few little pointers. So here, we did our little inner groin. Here, we're going to walk the hands forward, bring the hands up to find the head. No two sides are the same. So just kind of notice what is different on this side. You're staying to a flat back, bringing the bottom tips of the rib cage in, lengthening, just like we did with Parvottanasana. Lengthen, 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 Pasarda. Nice deep breath. You're gonna find the place where you can keep your back flat. And then you're gonna release your hands. Good, and then bring your head down towards the knee. You're rounding your back this time. Head to knee pose, Janu Shirsasana. Breathing in. Now see if you can find that optimal flat back again, lifting up. Taking a nice deep breath. Just finding the flat back and then releasing and coming. Oh, wait, stay down here to take your right hand. I've got the twist. Right hand onto the left and rotate, stacking your shoulders one on top of the other. Breathing in. It's a nice deep breath. And then coming back to center, find your flat back. And then come all the way back up. Good. So we're still here. You're going to bounce your knees. We're going to do a slightly different version of Janu Shirsasana, inner spiral. So this time it's the left foot coming up again. Toes are sunny side up, keeping the hamstrings flat. Ultimately, you want to keep a low back curve. And if you don't have a low back curve, you want a pillow underneath your hips. You want the low back curve here and rib cage in. So this time you're going to bring your right hand into the inside. We're stacking our shoulders right from the beginning. So foot to hand, hand to foot, rotate the torso. You're going to lift the left arm up. And your left arm is going to reach for your toes. You may not get there. Not this time. With a nice deep breath. Then keep the twist. Bring your left hand down, and so it is on the floor and now reaching for your toes. You can always use your tie if this is not quite available to you. But holding on to your toes, then you're going to lift your left elbow, still keeping arm to leg, leg to arm, right hand and right foot, looking underneath your left elbow. And breathing. Nice deep breath. Then release, come all the way back to center. Rotate your rib cage down so it's stacking hips over your shoulders and shoulders over your hips. Take it all forward in a flat back. Again, taking the top of the thighs back, just like we did with the Parvottanasana, where you really cranked your hips. Nice deep breath. And then inhaling, come all the way back up, other side. Just let your legs flop. Going back and forth. Okay, then coming back, engaging a nice long spine, right knee out to the side, right knee in, making whatever arrangement you need to make your knee happy, whether it's a pillow underneath or the tie in between to give your knee some space. You're going to take your left hand in, hand to leg, leg to hand, just like tree pose. You're hugging in, and then stacking the shoulders over one another. Hip the arm bone over one another, and I'm reaching forward. Good. Then adding my right arm up. So I'm getting a deep stretch through my right side here. And this moves right into the lower part, the obliques right here. Breathing in, you want to breathe into that stretch. You want to breathe into your kidneys. The nice deep breath. Keep your left hand and left leg connected as you bring your right arm down. Walk it down onto the floor so that you are maybe holding your toes or taking a tie. Lifting your arm up and rotating. You're still extending through the spine. And breathe. Whatever is your expression of this pose today, allow your breath to breathe into what is opening for you. A nice deep prana, getting a holistic use of your breath through your body. Holistic meaning just letting it move and then come all the way back, just in that wholeness. Come all the way back to center. Bring your left foot up to meet the right. Come into a Baddha Konasana. The nice deep breath. Good. Now from here, you're going to hold on to your ankles and round. Taking your sits bones down, your tailbone down, rounding through the back, breathing into the middle part of your back, and then inhaling all the way back up, feeling your core engaged, and then taking it forward. And then inhale up and round, and inhale up and flat back forward. One more time, inhale up and round. It's not deep, but get your back to move right into the middle part of your back, and inhale up and forward. And just to take this one more step, you're going to take your block. Now for those that have really open hips, you can go right to the wide side of the block. That is not you. There are two other sides. The smaller part, the second part. So we're letting the hips open and letting your knees flutter, lifting up through the spine. How do you know which is the right way for you? Is whether you can still keep your low back curve and keep lifting up through the spine. And then just pulsing forward, just a couple of pulses. Just getting a little deeper into those inner groins. You want to hear the inner groins. Don't overstretch. Just keep listening. Nice deep breath. Inhaling up and exhaling forward. Good. Then release and come all the way back. Both legs straight out and just let them bounce. Do a little bit of core work here. Bringing the knees up into Navasana, the bow pose. Spread your toes. Nice deep breath. Find your balance, and when you do, close your eyes. We're still holding on to the backs of our legs, and it's just that wonderful way of finding center and just staying in this center, breathing in. Then let your right leg lift, staying in the center, and left leg, and right, and let's spread your toes because you're hugging into the midline. You can take your hands out, coming into a little more advanced Navasana, or just open up your legs so that their legs are straight. Any number of these are available to you. Good. Then come all the way back to center and find that center again. Close your eyes and breathe into a nice deep breath. You can stay here if you want to find a little bit more. I'll go sideways so I'm not like moving the camera. We're going to find Upaya Padangusthasana by holding on to the big toes, pressing your little toe mound towards your ear to find this balance, and just breathe. Breathe in. You're hugging, my arms are hugging into the center as are my legs. And I'm breathing into that hug in. That's helping me stay balanced. And then release and come all the way back down. Good. And again, inner spiral. And come forward into Paschimottanasana. Head east-west pose. And breathe. Go round here, but take your little toe mound right to your head and press your big toe mound away. That really helps your hamstrings to lengthen. And breathe. It's all about just finding those inner connections. Uttanasana. And let's make it so that your right leg is on top, just so that we're all just kind of, when I'm speaking, I'm actually on the same leg as you are. I want to bring your knee into your chest and then press, keeping your knee bent, press it back. Okay, so you don't want your knee to kind of go off to the side here. You want it to just stretch straight back behind you. And then knee into your chest. You have your right hand onto the floor to help you balance, and then press it back. Keeping it bent so it's more of a quad stretch. And one more time, knee into your chest, and then stretch it back. Good. Now, let your feet go parallel to one another like you're standing on the floor, and we're going to stretch the side of the leg. You may feel this in the IT band. And then bring it all the way back down, and then inhale up, and then exhale down. So your feet are parallel to one another if you were on the floor, just like that. So you're not going to go as far. And down. Last time, inhale up, exhale down. Now turn your foot. So now it's at a 45-degree angle, and now we can go way up. So you're in the notch of the hip. And then slowly bring your leg all the way back down, heel to heel. And then inhale up. And then exhale down. And do it with a deep breath. Inhale up. And then exhale down. Last time, inhale up. And then exhale down. Now from here, turn your feet again so that they're parallel to one another, like you're standing on the floor, and go forward and back. And make sure you've got room to go back, forward and back. Just kind of stretching your range forward and back. And then you're going to bend your knees again. Maybe take your foot to the outside of the foot and lift up if that's available to you, or you're going to use your tie and then lift up. And we're at that 45-degree angle with the foot, so that we're in the crotch of your hip and the notch of your hip. Yeah, and then press your toes towards your head. Oh, our English language. Press your toes towards your head. And here you can just kind of no pressure, just stretching. And just make sure that you're not putting a lot of stress in your shoulders to do this. We're not trying to get anywhere, we're breathing into the stretch. Spread your toes so that your muscles are engaged. You always want to stretch engaged muscles, not floppy ones. And then release and come all the way back down and switch your sides. Uttanasana. Other side. So now it's the left leg that's up on top. Just going to do that little exercise with the quad stretch and bring the knee up to the chest and just stretching it back behind you. Not with the knee up here, you're just literally pressing back. Getting a good stretch through the quad, and then inhale up, exhale back. Still with the bent leg, inhale up, exhale back. I want you to just breathe into the stretch. 2 more times. Inhale up, exhale back. And inhale up and exhale back. Good. Now stack your feet one on top of the other so that it's like you're on the floor and you're spreading your toes. And you're inhaling up, and I feel it immediately in my IT band. And then coming all the way down. I don't go far. What I want to do is just stretch through my heel, and then inhale up, exhale down. When you're exhaling down, do it like you're squeezing a ball with your legs. So you're still hugging into the midline, pressing through the inside of your left heel, spreading your toes. Good. Now you're going to turn your foot at a 45-degree angle and go up higher. This side may be very different from the other. It's all okay. It's just what it is. And stretch up, and exhale down. Inhale up, Exhale down. Last time, inhale up, exhale down. 40, come back to a feet on the floor, parallel to one another. You're swinging forward and back. And again, just watch the back part. You're not going to hit something. Forward and back. Again, just breathing. Just getting the hip to open up. Just working the hip. And now you're going to come back to center, bend into the knee towards your chest. Either hold on to the outside of the foot by bringing your hand to the inside of your leg and lifting up. Or you're going to stay here and take your tie around your foot and inhale up. Either way, here we are, and you're pulsing your toes toward your head. And breathing. Nice deep breath. See if you can find the freedom, the spring freedom in the hips. Good. And then release and come all the way back down. Come all the way back into the seated pose, coming into a Baddha Konasana for a moment and breathing in. Good. Just doing one more twist before we go into Shavasana with legs straight out, inner spiral. I want to use my block. And I love how I can go deeper. Put the block onto the left side. Your left leg is crossing over. If it's in your practice to bring your right leg up with your left hip down, then do so. But you're going to have the left hip down and inhale up through the spine. You can either hold on to the knee, cross your hand over your knee, or your elbow with it lifting up. All of these are variations. I'm going to carry this one with my arm across. Left hand onto the block. Rotate. Last thing to go is your head, because it always wants to fool you that you've gone farther than you really have. Go to the max through your waistline first, and then let the head join. Nice deep breath. And again, if your hand is this way, open your hand up and let it receive the spring blessing. Wind and the rain. Maybe throw something out into the wind that you're ready to just get rid of and release out. Nice deep breath, and then release and come all the way back to center, moving the block over to the other side. Inner spiral first, because you want to open your lower back before you move to the other side. Don't get closed up. Right leg crosses over, maybe the left foot comes up to your hip. Come back down onto the right hip. Right hand will either come to the knee, crossing over, or elbow. Either way, you're lifting all the way up. I'm going to stay here. Right hand onto the block. Get a good twist. You really feel like your left hip, your left rib cage is coming to your right knee. Then add your head. And breathe. Breathe into the spring awakening on this day of storm. Nice deep breath. And then release and come all the way back to center. Inner spiral. And move right back into Shavasana on the floor. Putting on whatever clothes you need so that you don't cool down too far. It's allowing your whole body to connect to the earth. Feel the power of the opening through your body and how it is, from a standpoint of wholeness, has changed during this hour's practice. I always find it miraculous. and to the almighty power, the force, testing your capacity to withstand Mother Nature, reminding you that transformation comes in many forms. So allow small movements to come back into your fingers and back into your toes. Gently bring your knees into your chest and rock from side to side. And then roll to one side as you pause for a moment and breathe into your own inner landscape, breathing into the spring, breathing into your spring. And then continue the side roll all the way up to a seated pose, bringing your hands to prayer position at your heart center. And together, we will do one Om. So take a breath in. May we have peace in our heart and peace in our mind and true and everlasting peace and healing on this planet. Namaste. I'm not sure what Mary Lou is doing or what she's going there.